'Tis Tuesday, and we're here, so all is good. And there we go. Nope, yep, that's about right. There we go. Close enough. All right, let's see if we get some 5x5. See if I can see me on my computer. Here comes my screen. Healthy disrespect for authority says you can see me. So does Finley the dog. Checks to mix one. Good. Okay. Hello, gang. Happy Tuesday night from a beautiful day today. It was a lot of work. You guys saw the sweet potatoes start conditioning the straw bales, get that going. And then the rest of the day was spent spreading mulch from all the trees I've had chipped up, from all the trees that got taken down where they finally started digging the pond today. They got about a foot deep and at least got the shape of it so I can kind of see what's going on. So yeah, my entire yard looks like a construction zone right now. But is what it is. So, it's getting the stuff done now while I can. So, all the fun stuff in the news that we're paying attention to. Of course, we had a couple more fires over the weekend. And so, that I think makes 34 now in the last year in the United States alone. Okay, so kind of interesting there. Gee, I wonder with all the other talk and, cricket manure, I want to know how many freaking crickets you need to have to collect cricket manure. Just saying. But yeah, so all these fires are getting a little bit worrisome. One I did want to throw out to you guys here on a piece of news. I talked about the other day, the Ministry of Truth deal. So you guys know, pay attention. They hit Prepper now with a strike for a video he did 14 months ago. Okay, so Prepper now was in YouTube jail for 2 weeks. If they're going back over a year, God knows they're going to find something on everybody's channel. Hell, I got over 1,000 videos up. I'm sure they'll find something. So y'all know Pinball Prepping as opposed to Pinball Preparedness is the backup channel. So if you don't see me here one morning, that's where I'll be. Go from there. I wanted to touch base on May 9th, okay, which is the latest in the, oh my God, this is when Russia's going to do something. Now, mind you, May 8th is VE Day in the rest of in the Western world. May 9th is VE Day in Russia because of the time difference, and there were 2 surrender ceremonies between the Nazis and the Allies and everything like that. So where we all recognize it on May 8th, Russia recognizes on May 9th, called Victory Day. And so they are going, that is the story that's the day Putin's going to go hell-bent for leather. I'll believe it when I see it. I know a lot of people are freaking out over it, but, we heard, it was going to be on May Day, and we heard it was going to be on Orthodox Easter. It's like, okay, it seems to be about once a week, this is the weekend that Putin's going to go nuts. Whatever. Okay. If and when it happens, it'll happen. All these prognosticators who go, I know what day it's going to be and everything. That bullshit. Sorry. So I just wanted to touch base on that because a few people have asked about it and stuff. So, nothing you can do about it anyway. So, I'm not going to sweat it. If the mushroom cloud goes up, hopefully I'm close enough that I'm vaporized in a heartbeat. That's the only way I'm going to look at it. The biggest one that's come out was, of course, the Supreme Court leak. And if you guys have heard this, the Supreme Court is hearing a case that indirectly affects Roe versus Wade, abortion. And we have a leaker. Justice Alito wrote the opinion, and it hasn't been signed off by other justices yet. But somebody in the Supreme Court, one of about 45 people who had access to this, decided to leak it. That is about, whoever did this, because apparently there's already a SCOTUS investigation, and I guess the FBI is going to get involved, and this person is looking at some serious prison time, okay, for doing this. They'll find him, whoever it is. But the funny part is watching all the people completely lose their minds. This doesn't overturn anything. If that decision is if what was leaked is actually accurate, and there's been stories come out that says SCOTUS has actually confirmed it was, but just hasn't been signed off on, all it does is give the decisions back to the states, okay, which is where it should be in the first place. You know, federal government, nothing in the Constitution says anything about abortion. Federal government shouldn't have anything to say about it. I'm sorry, Elizabeth Warren, no, Congress does not have the final word. Okay, you know, as usual, you're wrong. So that was that. The bigger thing that I find in this is just, in my opinion, another distraction. Let's change the news cycle for a couple of days, at least, from inflation, from food shortages, from all the kitchen table issues that we all deal with day to day. Okay? The stuff that we actually have that really affects us. I mean, no offense, but I'm not having any more kids. So, you know, the abortion law doesn't affect me whatsoever. But, you know, everybody's got to go, oh, all sorts of crazy for it, whatever it would be. All right. You know, Whoopi Goldberg's going nuts about the abortion law. Trust me, Whoopi, you ain't having any more kids. You know, chances are you ain't even going to practice on how to have any more kids. Just, you know, sorry. Can't stand that woman. But, you know, it's a distraction. And you almost think that that's how it's being played. It's like, oh, what could we do to change the news cycle? You know, what can we do to rile up the Democrat base, you know, to make them want to turn out for the November elections? You know, we need something because everything we've done has been an abject failure. Oh, let's put abortion on the ballot again. And that's where it's going. Okay, that's all this is. My guess is you're going to find it's some liberal lunatic who leaked this thinking they're going to get away with it, you know, because they're doing it for the cause. They're taking one for the team. What, you know, enjoy prison. You know, Bubba's waiting for you. But, you know, hope you're not female. So that would be the pinball take on the news in the last few days. Agree with me, disagree with me, whatever. You know, again, coming here is voluntary. I remind everybody that little X in the upper right-hand corner, if you don't like what I have to say, it's a real simple fix. So, all right, let's get into what we all want to talk about, what you guys want to talk about rather than listen to me banter. So first off, thank you to all my moderators, as usual, Lorna, Robert, Jacob, North Shore, and Lucky Dame for gracing us with their presence and keeping the riffraff out of here. We will follow the guidelines as best we can, even though there's a ministry of truth apparently watching our every move, but we'll stay away from, and I ask you guys to all stay away from November 2020 FJB comments, you know, anything about the vaccine within reason. Okay. And, you know, I guess the latest one is, unless you're towing the party line on what's going on in Eastern Europe, you can't talk about that either. So, but we'll see how that one all plays out. You know, again, facts over wannabe facts, utopia facts, fiction. Okay, the correct word for it. Please keep it PG-13, guys. You know, we are all a family in here. Try to be polite to each other. If you want to be an ass, go do it somewhere else. You're not going to have a second chance to do it here. We have a zero tolerance policy for that. Be polite. Not a problem. Okay. If you don't like what I have to say, like I said, the X is there. If you don't like what somebody else has to say, you use the X too. Just that you're not. Trust me, nobody cares that you're in a pissy mood tonight. You know, we're here to help each other, to come up with ideas and solutions for how to get through the chaos that is going on in the world, created by every politician from both sides of the aisle, from every country, from God knows what, okay? For all the stupid decisions, we're trying to figure out how to navigate the waters. That's what we're here to do, is help each other. Let's kind of focus on that. So, all right. As usual, questions for me in all caps. I will get to as many as I can. I start at the top, work my way down to the bottom. Please understand that I can't read them as fast as you guys can write them. So if I miss your question, please ask it again. Hopefully I will see as many of them as I can, and I'll get to it. All right. If it's something that I can't talk about, I will skip it. If it's something that you'd rather just ask me an email, feel free to do that as well. All right, so let's go to the top here, or as close as I can get to it. And let's see, purring lady, Elon Musk needs to buy YouTube. I don't know if he's got enough money to buy Google. Oh yes, Okie Forge. Don't forget Revenge of Pinball. Yes, there is a third channel out there, a backup to the backup, guys. I never use it. I just have it there. It's called Revenge of Pinball. That's if I totally get pissed off and get kicked out of 2 channels. There's a third one. And of course, there's always Rumble too, but I haven't put up anything there in about 6 months just because it's a pain in the ass. But you'll find me somewhere. Okay. Jarrett Gallops. What is a good remedy for ants in the garden? Would DE work without harming beneficial insects? I try DE first. Absolutely. You're going to try to stay something organic. Depends on what kind of ants you have. I mean, if they're fire ants, good freaking luck getting rid of them. Okay. There's some that what you more need to concern yourself with is, why are the ants there? Okay. The ants may not be the ants aren't necessarily the cause. A lot of times what you'll find is when you have ants, it means you have aphids, okay? And the reason being is the aphids secrete a real sweet poop that ants love. And what you'll actually see is ants will defend aphids on plants, okay? They'll help aphids get to the plants. So if you've got ants in the garden, look at the underside of your leaves and see if you've got aphids on their aphid eggs. You'll see there are a bunch of little dots or whatever, they're about the same color as the leaf. Kill those, you might get rid of your ant problem. That may be the issue, because unless you've got something sugary in there in your garden, I mean, now, okay, granted, if you got sugar beets or something like that, yeah, you could get them from that. But if you've got ants on your tomatoes, there's something else going on. Catgirl 66, did I see that millions of bees that died were supposed to go to Alaska? I saw that was down in Atlanta at the airport or whatever it was. Just, you find this. Isn't it interesting that anything and everything that has something to do with food somehow is having a problem? Chickens, pork, cows, fertilizer, bees, whatever it would be. I'm sorry, but fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. Okay, or however the hell that goes. But no, I'm sorry. This is not coincidental anymore. There's something going on, and I mean, I'd love to find out how that got. How do you kill millions of bees? What did you? Oh, gee, you know what? We didn't think that the bees would be harmed by jet fuel or jet exhaust or something like that. Okay, bye. If they can't handle bees, how the hell are they going to handle your luggage? Think about it. Dill Pickle, how big is the pond going to be? Between 6 and 8 feet, depending on where. Obviously, my yard is, like every yard, is somewhat of a slope, so be deeper on one end and shallower on the other, because water doesn't go on a slope. Polish water skiers, right? Downhill. Yes, I'm Polish, so I can make that joke. Rooster says, thank you to all the vets and those still serving. I agree. and you're welcome. Let's see. Porch goose prepper. Does the bird flu affect turkey farms and ducks and geese, or only chicken? No, it definitely affects turkeys. And I haven't heard anything about it being in geese, but I'm assuming it's going to be. but I have heard it in ducks too. So you're going to get those issues. But yeah, I mean, you're talking anything poultry. I don't know if robins can get it or whatever. I'm assuming they can. It's just not like anybody checking a robin for it. Tom Larson, going back to the SCOTUS leak, I think the Dems sent it out to start trouble. I would absolutely agree with you. Patty Hansen, I thought old Joe Potato was the only leaker at the Vatican anyway. Yeah. Did you guys see today, speaking of the Vatican, that the Pope is now blaming NATO for Russia going into Ukraine? It's NATO's fault. Okay. The Catholic Church has got to get rid of this Pope. This guy is a politician, not a pontiff. Okay. The guy is a disaster. Where are the days of John Paul II? Somebody that could unite people. This Pope can't. He couldn't unite two magnets. Lieutenant Frank Drebin, I love that. Evening Pinball as usual. You're great as usual. Great vids lately. Thank you for all your research. You're most welcome. I enjoy doing it, guys. This is the thing. I mean, like I've said to you many times before, it makes me better at my prepping, makes me a better person, more knowledgeable, everything like that. And the fact that I can share that information is important to me. So, let's see. Ruth Corcoran, court leak, media spinning it to cause more division and distraction. Yep, that's exactly what it is. It's just, let's get them talking about something that they have no control over and doesn't affect most of the people. I love Liz Warren. 69% of the public's against this. Really? What, 69% of the people maybe in Massachusetts? But, sorry, Lizzie, as usual, you haven't got a fact to back you up. Healthy disrespect. Again, what if it was some 3-letter agency behind the leak? Could be. Okay. I mean, DOJ rings a bell. Let's see. T's amazed, I'm guessing. Do they want us to engage in civil war? Okay. That's a very good question. We've talked about this for a couple of years. They want the civil war without the war part. Okay. They just want total control. We're going to tell you everything to do, and you're eventually going to cave to whatever we have to say. Okay. They don't want the shooting or anything like that or whatever. And I don't either. Okay. Don't get me wrong. But the powers that be, both sides, okay, want total control. They want to be able to tell you what to have for dinner, where you're going to live, where you're going to work. They want full-blown communism with them at the top, kill the middle class, and all of us as peons. And that's what they're trying to figure out how to do. Start, fighting between rich and poor, black and white, white and Hispanic, black and Asian, pick one, gay and straight. I mean, anything they can come up with to divide the people is what they're doing. And then while we're all bitching at each other back and forth, they're going, well, we'll shut off the food, we'll shut off the power, we'll shut off the water. And then everybody's there hat in hand going, I'm hungry and it's cold out and I don't have any heat. Oh, let us fix that for you. I mean, the easiest way to solve a problem is to create it in the first place. You got the solution. Okay. That's what they're trying to do. They want the civil war. They just don't want anybody to fight back. Wilderness woman. Honey, you want to listen to this one? Does Mrs. P have any experience with milk kefir? Been making it a bit and going to try cheese. She loves the stuff. I hate it. It's like, okay. It's funny, every time we go to the store, it's like, "Do you want a bottle of kefir?" And she'll get her a bottle of kefir. I don't like buttermilk. So, and it's kind of like a half and half deal. So, but she loves it. I don't. But yeah, she does. I don't think she cooks with, unless, no, what do you make? You make a latte with kefir, don't you? Yeah, a latte, which are kind of like a little bigger than dollar-sized pancakes, kind of the same idea. Caffeine prepper. I love some of your guys' names. What do I need to know about pulling peat from my swamp to use it in the garden? Never done that. I really don't think there's a whole lot. I don't see any reason to use it. I mean, and this is the best I can go back to. This is, God, when I was a kid living up in Michigan. So we would be talking somewhere early 80s here. And there was a pond behind all our houses, and then there was a swamp, literally a swamp there. And there was, probably a couple of acres of wooded land that we as kids played in. We called it the forest, okay? But you had paths and, typical what kids do on wooded lot. But there were blackberry bushes in there, and I remember my folks had us pulling our little radio flyer wagon into the forest and digging out probably 10 feet from the swamp. I mean, the richest black soil you could get, so we could use it in the gardens. So we never did anything with that soil. So I'm guessing not a problem. If you got to dry it out first so it doesn't stink, maybe. But I can't see how it wouldn't be perfect. Redbeard's Racing. How long do you have to wait to use wood ashes in the garden so there's no more lye? Well, first off, make sure you wait till they're cold. Once they're cool, they're fine. Okay. Again, remember, you want to use hardwood ash, and you don't want to use a ton of it. The best way I've found to use it is to mix it into my compost pile, but I have sprinkled wood ash on my gardens directly, and within a week of using it, I mean, you want to put it in a metal bucket, let it cool, and then I just spread it out there, and it's fine. Just don't want to use a ton of it. You will change the pH of your soil if you use too much. Voice of Truth, Pinball, did I make the beans yet? I don't understand the context of the question. I'm sorry. Mr. Scarlight, whoops, and it just shot to the bottom here. It said something about whole grains or whatever. Hang on, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get back that far. Nope, I'm sorry. Was it Starlight? Please put it in again. I don't remember what the question was, and I can't get that far up in the chat. Carlethia Chandler, hey Pinball, Okie here. Besides gas or diesel, what's a good way of getting rid of tree stumps? Epsom salts. Drill holes in it, or take a chainsaw and cut crisscrosses in the chainsaw and pour Epsom salts in there. The magnesium in the Epsom salt will rot out the tree stump. It'll take time, but you don't have to sit there and watch a fire and pour gasoline all over the place. Elizabeth Coward, question, what kind of sardines to plant under fruit trees? Does it matter what kind of fruit tree? I put a fish of some sort or sardines under any of my trees. I mean, they go in under all my fruit trees. They went under all the evergreens that we put in. It probably doesn't matter, but I'd say don't use the Tabasco ones, but I'm betting it probably doesn't matter. I always thought that it was only the ones you wanted to use in the water, until I found out that the ones in vegetable oil were totally fine too. So yeah, overall, doesn't matter. I mean, you're going for the fish in there, not necessarily what's in there. But yeah, you can, any kind of fish will work. You want to throw a can of mackerel in there, throw a can of mackerel in there. Tuna fish, whatever. Well, yeah, I'd say tuna fish be fine. Sardines are just cheaper. Country Humans Grease fan. How will Chick-fil-A or KC handle the chicken shortage? KFC handle the chicken shortages? Well, KFC has no problem because all they're going to do is make all your lab-grown chickens anyway. That they're chicken nuggets. That's what they'll be selling. Chick-fil-A, that's a different story. But you can bet prices are going up. Jared Gallups, I'm in Texas. Fire ants are just an issue always and everywhere. Yeah, anywhere down south. Fortunately, they're not here yet. We get I won't say they're not here yet. We get them occasionally, not that often. I haven't had them in my garden here. Jessica Jolly, did I hear about the chicken farm fire here in Mississippi? Yeah, I heard that about an hour or so ago. I guess a couple of plants went up, and the early reports are arson. Go figure. Oh God, Brenda Mackey. Diesel here is now $9 a gallon. I'm guessing you're in Canada. Because diesel here, when I was in town today, is still $5 a gallon in Tennessee. Excuse me. Voodoo Queen, borax, cornmeal, and sugar in a shallow container. They take it back to the nest, and the borax kills them. Okay, there's that. And again, perfect example of why I said put your questions out here. Somebody else has an answer. Never heard of that one. And if there's somebody that I'm going to trust for that answer, it's Voodoo Queen. Question, uses for spent spaghetti water. Use it to flush the toilet. Use it to water your plants. Anything like that. I mean, again, what are you talking about? Something that's wheat. So, any of that white look that you get after water, it's organic material. All right. So pour it over your compost pile, anything like that. Again, just let it cool off first. You don't want to put boiling water out on your plants, but anything. I wouldn't bathe in it, but sure, water your plants with it or whatever. Fine. Heat killed the bees. It was hot in Atlanta. Okay, I'm not going to disagree with you there, but I've got to think that whoever was shipping the bees took into account that it was going to be hot and did something. And my guess is the airline who was shipping it dropped the ball. Okay, not saying that's my guess. Brooks Barrow, curious about the pond. Have you calculated the pond's watershed? What kind of depth will you have? Strategy for stocking. As for watershed, yes, we've already talked about that. Actually, I was talking to him about it today. We aren't overly concerned about it because the way the slope runs, the water will run just the way where I've got the pond. The water will run the natural flow right down to the street, so I'm good there. Depth will be 6 to 8 feet, so I can maintain fish. And my strategy for stocking is I'm going by what the Tennessee DNR says in regards to the amount of brim, bass, and catfish. Ann Palmer, I'm sitting here canning beef brisket for the first time. So much trimmed fat. Do you or anyone here render the fat? Hate to waste it. I do not, because I do not know how to. That would be something I definitely need to learn. It was funny because I mentioned on the video today, Billy's Bone Sauce. And in the video that I linked where he talks about it, he says the way you can stretch that is by using beef tallow. And I'm like, okay, I got to learn how to do that. So, be charming. Yes. Appropriately be charming. Hours on a hot tarmac with no liquid. Yeah, we'd all die in those conditions. Yeah, pretty much. Mark Chenoweth, what new prepping gadget would I recommend? I'm not one of these tools and toys. Well, tools, yes, but toys, no. The only thing I'll recommend is what you need to do what you need to do. Okay, this is it. You could come up and say, oh, everybody needs to have this, I don't know, hoe or holster or something like that. I'm sorry, that's not me. Okay, I'm not, buy this or you'll die. You ever heard that on this channel? No. It's because it ain't me. I've said a million times, everybody's journey is different. We cross paths many times, but what I necessarily put away isn't what you put away. Hey, you're on a CPAP machine or something. I use that as an example all the time. I can't answer your questions. I don't use one. Okay. It's something that's crucial for you. It doesn't come into play for me. You're a diabetic. What you need is different than what I need. It's not an issue for me. Okay. So, you're in the city. Your needs are different than what mine are. There isn't a gadget that I'm going to recommend just because that's not how I do things. I'm not trying to sell anybody anything. So, Tug Hill, can you eat Canadian geese? I suppose you can eat anything. Whether it's going to taste any good, I have no idea. But I mean, in SHTF, yeah, you'll probably eat anything. But yeah, there's plenty of geese hunters out there, stuff like that. I'm assuming they're eating them. So I've never hunted geese, but you see them all the time. It's like hunting ducks. So, Joe Williams, what do I think of vacuum food sealers and what brand? I think they're a good idea. Again, remember what you're going to be using it for. Chances are you're freezing your meat. You're using it for something you're going to freeze. You're just sucking the air out of it. What brand? Whatever's inexpensive. Okay. No need to go out and spend $500 on a vacuum sealer, in my opinion. Again, okay. If you want to, go ahead. A lot of things in prepping, I will say, you guys know me. I mean, I try to find what will do the job for the least amount of money. That's pretty much where I've been since the beginning of this channel. Okay, I want the best for the least, if you will. Now, and I'll just give you an example. Some people, I'll give you a couple. Some people swear by the Blue Eddy generators. That's great. More power to you. I find better value in the EcoFlows. That's what I'm going to talk about. Some people swear by an all-American canner. That's great. My Presto does the same job for a third of the price. Just saying, Janet, we the people, we are still going to buy AMD. I see that. I think of Advanced Micro Devices and trade our birds in Oklahoma. Screw the government. Okay, I don't know what you mean by AMD, but yeah, if we're talking, I'm guessing you're talking about the chicken ban until the end of July or whatever. No buying, selling, trading chickens. Again, enforce it. Good luck. All they do when they put out stupid stuff like this is create a black market. Okay, I can't go to the chicken swap meet or whatever the hell they're called. You know what? But chances are all the people that go probably know each other. They're probably all regulars there. Hey, Bob, yeah, I got an extra 6 hens. Come on over and get a couple. Again, can't think past here. Hexer1, Pinball, thank you for saying that about the Pope. I've said this for years. He's a joke. Yeah, and I'm not Catholic. Beth Elliott, if using Mylar, is it necessary to use a food-grade bucket? No. You don't have to because, again, you're in the Mylar. The only difference, and I don't, I'll make that here. I just use regular buckets and Mylar bags. The only difference is the seal, with just a regular bucket, like a Home Depot bucket or whatever it is, it doesn't have that snap-on seal. I forget what the thing's called. Somebody will know real quick. That you got to use a tool to get it open with. That's the only difference. So there is a risk, if you will, of tip a bucket over and the thing will bust open. But if it's in a Mylar bag and it's sealed properly, the bag falls out. Big deal. North Shore Pinball's a madman for research. Yeah, kind of, because I like to be informed. I don't like being told. I like You can tell me the facts and I will make my own decision. Do not tell me the decision. Okay. Tell me the facts and let me figure it out. Okay. I give you guys my opinion, and I also tell you take it or leave it. It's just my opinion. But yeah, I mean, it's better than sitting here playing Candy Crush all night. Go there. Robert Bates, planning our move now. Town just voted for topless on all beaches, even the ones with bars in them. Oh, there you go. That would be Massachusetts. Okay. So, liberal state. What did I do a video on the other day? What was it? Drugs, gambling, and prostitution. When those all three come, that's the demise of society. Gee, which side really wants all that? Jamie, the Catholic Church is the biggest corporation in the world. Ain't that the truth? JJC Camus, JJCC Amos, I'm not sure. What will feed your pond to keep it full of water? Actually, there is a watershed you guys know I'm on the side of a mountain, and there is literally the natural flow of water coming down off the neighbor's property that goes into one corner of the garden, and we have cut a space there for a fill valve, if you will, for the rain to come in right there. Michael Bettis, sunflowers growing in West Wisconsin. Okay, I got to give you this one. This brings something up. This is kind of funny. You remember a month or so ago, I did the video on how to make a self-watering bucket. I told you I was going to plant my watermelons in it. Well, either the squirrels or the chipmunks liked it too, and they decided to plant the sunflower seeds that we feed them. So I've got sunflowers growing in those buckets because the squirrels planted them, and Mrs. B doesn't want to lose the sunflowers. So that's what's in there. Yes, so sunflowers are growing here too. Doug Paust, 80,000 Pfizer docs came out the same day as the SCOTUS leak. Isn't that convenient? Nobody will read that. Let's not talk about that. Distraction. Billy Pollard, where do I see silver bottoming out in the next couple of weeks? I'd say 22 is probably right about, 2190 somewhere, but right around 22 is where support is on it right now. Veronica Walker, pinball, bought a tub of ladybugs last night for my aphids. They rock. There you go. Yeah, you can actually, I know I've seen them at Rural King. I've seen them at Harbor Freight. That was in Vegas. I've seen them at Tractor Supply. You can buy, like a little thing of fish worms. You can buy a little thing of ladybugs and put them out. And ladybugs love aphids. So, good bugs and bad bugs. Brenda Mackey, Trudeau announced today they're building a Moderna plant in Quebec for 180. It's got to be more than 180,000. I'm betting it's probably 180 million. $180,000. It's a small house? In Canada, it's an apartment, a condo. That'd be about it. The price of real estate up in Canada. Interesting, yeah, but 10% for because of the currency exchange, 15% for the big guy, right? True dope. Beautiful day. So excited to see your sweet potatoes grow. Me too. Sweet potatoes are one of those crops that I find that are fun to grow because it's kind of root crops are fun to me to grow because you don't know what you're gonna get. It's like, all right, you go through and it's like, and again, I told you why I'm doing it in straw bales again, but 2 years ago when I did it, I'm getting these massive sweet potatoes, everything like that. All sorts of funky shapes and everything like that. I don't want the little piddly ones. If I want fingerling potatoes, I'll grow fingerling potatoes. I want yams. Susan Wagner, my black crim tomatoes are growing in my garden. Thanks again for the seeds. You're more than welcome. You guys got to send me pictures of the tomatoes you guys get out of the black crims that I sent you guys. So that'd be kind of cool to see that. But Yes, we are growing black crims and then two other types of Russian tomatoes, Siberian earlies, and the other one that I can never pronounce. And Mrs. B corrects me every time I try to. There's a smile on her face. Melanie Merrill, hello. Vegetable fermentation YouTube channels or book recommendation? Neither, because I couldn't tell you a YouTube channel that does it, and I don't know about a book that talks about it. So, sorry. Patty Hansen, do you think our country will ever see secession again? I'd be for it at this point. I do. I've talked about it many times. I think we're on that path where there is no. It used to be, it, you know, moderate Republicans, moderate Democrats, and the country tipped a little bit to the right. Well, now the pendulum swung way to the right and the pendulum swung way to the left. So you've got Trumpers, America first, and you've got communists. I mean, there is no putting together. And then, like I said earlier, divide, 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 divide. Everything is divisive at this point. And, eventually, just like a marriage, it comes up to the point, go, you know what? We can do this amicably, or we can do this in court. And personally, might not happen in my lifetime, but if I could get a time machine forward 100 years, I'll bet you the United States doesn't look like it does now. It'll be 3 to 5 different countries. Fred Coates, question: what experience, thoughts, suggestions do you have for growing fruit trees from seed? Go watch the Gardening Channel with James Prigioni. He's up in Jersey, and he's grown apple trees and stuff like that from seed. The issue that I have with it, okay, first off, buy yourself a 3-year-old tree for $20, $25. It ain't that expensive. Oh, yes, and I'll talk about something else in a second. Not that terrible. Prigioni did the video. He got his first apples off of the tree he grew from seed. More power to him. 9 years later, okay? And then, you have to know, I mean, there's a big difference between an apple seed and a peach pit, for example, okay? So you have to know how to do each one of those. Grafting a tree might be a better idea, but, the way I look at it, $20, $25 for a tree, go buy it. Now, what I said in the comment here, a day of firsts. So this is exciting stuff, and it's on fruit trees. Mrs. P and I were out walking in the yard. We saw the first pear on our tree. We planted the pear tree in the fall of 2020. We saw our first teeny tiny little pear growing on it. We went out in the garden, saw the first 3 pea pods. That was exciting. And my sweetheart cherry tree that we planted last fall, there's 1 cherry on it. So, yes, fruit's growing. And I know, last year we got 4 peaches and 2 plums out of our trees. Okay. But you got to start somewhere. Nothing happens overnight. And so, when's the best time to plant a tree? You guys know that. But, it's nice to see finally the stuff that we put in 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, bearing fruit. Let's see. Marlene Popos, did I see the price of a gallon of Clorox? $6.50. Jeez. Yeah. Used to be about $2. Maybe 2.5. Unbelievable. Darlene Carter, how far can your garden be from a black walnut young tree about 12 feet tall? As far as you can get it. You certainly don't want the risk of any of the leaves falling in your garden. You certainly don't want the risk of any of the walnuts falling into your garden. Black walnuts are one of those trees. Plant it, leave it, everything else on the other side of the yard. The further away, the better, because there's something in a black walnut that kills everything else. Juby Bijou, do I know anything about the East Tennessee Readiness Network? I remember seeing that. I looked into that as soon as we moved here, and they were terrible about returning phone calls, emails, or anything like that. The people in the network, nobody had been active for 6 months or whatever it is. I looked at it. I think I might have even signed up for it. I never heard anything from them. Okay. Sorry. We shot to the bottom again, so back up to where we go. CB, I planted 1 row of corn. Seed package says 4 rows. I have squash one side and carrots on the other. Do you think it'll do anything? All right, problem that you're going to have with this, and the reason why you want to plant corn in blocks and not in rows is, well, you want to plant them in rows, but you need multiple rows. Corn is wind pollinated, okay? Not bees or anything like that. So all the little silks that you have on top, all right, or I'm sorry, on the top of the ear of the corn, those are fertilized by the pollen blowing in the wind. Each one of those silks goes to one kernel of corn on your cob. So you want them close, because if you've got just one row and you've got an east to west wind, for example, it just blows all the pollen away. If you've got rows, it blows the pollen onto the next ones over. What I would say the best thing that you're going to have to do, if that's what you've got, you're going to have to hand pollinate. Not that for corn it's that different, but when they go to pollen here, go outside each day and shake the top of the stalk so that pollen falls down and hits the silks. That would be the best way to do it. So you're going to kind of have to help nature a little bit. DKH, any idea on post-SHTF transportation, pedal cart? Yeah, it's going to be interesting. As much as everybody talks about EMPs, taking out cars, and it's both sides of that, whether or not it's true or not. That's not the point. It's getting the gasoline. That's the point, because the gas station runs on electricity, guys. And if there's an EMP, that means no electricity, that means no gas. So, you're going to be going back to the 1800s. You're going to be bicycle. You're going to be horse. If we get that far, that's where it's going to be, it's going to be on non-motorized vehicles again. Kim, do I think things will magically improve, i.e. gas and food prices, before the elections? Do I look like a Democrat? No. Things are magically going to get worse as the summer goes. And no, I'm not being a doom and gloomer. I'm just telling you. How many of you guys have told me on today's video? I think it was Mississippi, Kentucky, Tennessee, somewhere else, Indiana. Gee, I'm driving past all the fields and none of the farmers have planted. Okay, if none of the farmers have planted, guess what happens in the fall, guys? None of the farmers harvest. Okay, so there all of a sudden we have no food. That's anybody that tells you, oh, this will all go away in a couple of weeks, has been saying that for 2 years. Remember 2 weeks to flatten the curve? How'd that work out? Okay. No, nothing's going to magically improve. The only way gas would magically improve is if Potato Joe actually did something that benefited the country, and changing us to E15 gas ain't it. C. Tophers, any suggestions for a solar dehydrator? No. I'm assuming there's one out there, but I've never seen one, and I've certainly never used one. Gamma lids. That's what I was thinking about before. Thank you. Oki Khan said that. Yes, that was the lid I was talking about with the Mylar bags and the buckets. All right. Ethan Kinney, is your standard just sold out of hard red wheat berries, all sizes? Thoughts? Yeah, that's not a big surprise because, again, we're talking about 20% of the world's wheat crop comes out of Russia and Ukraine. That's gone. What does that do when people and countries and everybody hear that? What did everybody do? They went and started stockpiling it. What have the Chinese been doing for over a year? 70% of the world's grain is in China right now, guys. Doesn't surprise me that they're out of wheat berries. You just lost 1/5 of the world production. You've got drought problems in the United States. People have bought everything that they can. Countries have and individuals have, buying anything they can. That's why we say all the time, stock it when you can get it, because it ain't going to be there tomorrow. And there's a perfect example. Foggy Mountain Man, I watched feeding reports on the efforts of the World Food Program to get food to hungry people. He said they're having to take 50% of the food hungry to feed the starving people now. I saw that yesterday. That was, I don't want to sound cold, okay? And this is going to sound cold, but I'm sorry, but that's not my intent. How many decades, if not centuries, have people known how to cultivate food? And there's plenty of people that refuse to learn or stay where they're. If you can't grow food in the desert, why are you in the desert? Gee, my family's been here my whole life. Move. Okay. I don't want to sound like I don't have sympathy. I do, but not much. Okay. Because somehow, some way, people need to be able to figure out their own problems and not rely on somebody else to do it. The people who are the starving people, do they just expect the rest of the world to say, oh, we'll provide you food? No, I'm sorry. I'm sick and tired of everybody expecting something from somebody else. No, you get what you earn in life. If you don't earn anything, you don't get anything. Salty King Ward, thank you for the super chat. First case of bird flu here in my town. Prisoner on work release. Yeah, you must be in Colorado. I saw that they were working in a poultry processing factory, which I get a kick out of it. And it's like, what? Now we can't hire all the illegals in the poultry processing, so now we got to hire prisoners? It's like, come on. Candace Cullen, can the chitting on my potatoes be too long? It's possible to trim them, or should I just tuck it down in the soil as is? You can trim them. Like I said, I think it was Saturday's live stream, or cut them back to 2 or 3 inches. You can also plant them with the whole sprout, if you will, on there. The only thing I would suggest is, a lot of times when you're cutting your potatoes and, because it's got 2 eyes here, so, this got 4 eyes. So if I cut it in half, I get 2 seed potatoes. If you're trimming off those sprouts, leave the whole potato, because that sprout has probably sucked a lot of energy out of the potato. That one might continue to grow. You might get something off of one of the other eyes. Billy Pollard, do I see silver dropping below $22 an ounce over the next couple of weeks? All depends on what the Fed does. If the Fed does 50 basis points, like is expected, 22 is about as far as I see it going. If the Fed comes out and does 75, who knows? Then we got crazy crap going on, because that tells you the Fed's out of bullets in a gun. Yarn prepper, that's why I'm a recovering Catholic. Nice. Chris Langley, bung wrench for opening those emergency food containers. They're very cheap. Yes. Healthy disrespect for authority. Is there a fertilizer for transplants that looks sad after a week? Okay. I've got some that went out. I was out looking at the garden space. 3 or 4 of my Marconi peppers didn't make the transplant. Okay. And it's just, that happens. You're going to lose some. Always does. But again, you got to figure out what the root cause is. I mean, why, for me, why did that particular row, and literally they were 4 in a row, why did those die, but the ones that were a foot apart on both sides made it? You need to figure out why they look weak. Is it too cold? That's a possibility. Okay. Is there not enough nutrients in the soil? Have they had too much water? Have they had not enough water? You got to go through step by step and figure out what it is. Are the roots yellow, or I'm sorry, are the leaves on it turning yellow? That'd be a nitrogen deficiency or something. Go through, see what the symptoms are and find out what the cause is. If the whole thing's wilting, chances are you tore the root structure too bad when you did it. It's just, or the soil's bad, something like that. And it's not taking up any moisture. Oh my God, it's 5 to 9. Titanium Hero, I have a beaver eating the sunflower seeds out of the bird feeder. I live nowhere near water. Okay, that one I can't help you with. I do live near water, and I've never seen a beaver around here. Mountain lion, but no beaver. What the beaver with no water? That makes no sense. Wyoming Yeti, put ladybugs out in the early morning or evening, otherwise they'll fly away. Yeah, I'd put them out early morning and put them right where the aphids are and let them go at it. Short Bus 68, how to chit sweet potatoes. You do not. Sweet potatoes are totally different than your Idaho potatoes. You need to grow slips off of your your sweet potatoes. Take the slips off of the sweet potato and then plant the slips. I've done a video in the past, like I said in my video today, like Danny over at Deep South Homestead says, God didn't intend for sweet potato slips to be grown in a glass of water. It works for me, okay? He puts them in dirt, lets them grow that way. I put them in water, let them grow that way. You do what works for you, okay? I tried them in dirt, they didn't work. The potatoes rotted. So I do it in water, works fine. Don't ask me. It's just, you do what works, okay? I mean, somebody could tell you this works this way. If it doesn't work for you, don't do it. Simple as that. But yeah, you don't chit sweet potatoes. You need to grow slips from them. Tug Hill, you can eat the leaves of sweet potatoes. Yes, you can. That was kind of one of the points on my video today. If you don't want them, the cows, the pigs, the chickens like them. The only problem is the deer love them too. So with your sweet potatoes, if you got deer in the area, you got to figure out how to keep the deer away from them. Saffron's Bay Self-Sufficiency, answering a question for somebody before. Vegetable Fermentations books by Sandor Katz. He's the fermenting guru. There you go. Carla Palmer, what will stop the country from being divided is a common enemy? Maybe. And the reason I said, worked great in World War II, the whole United States came together. Look what happened after 9/11. Weapons of mass destruction. Yes, we have them. No, we didn't. That was the beginning for the divide rather than the coming together. Sunshine, you're about to lose your hat, per my husband watching this on TV. I'm not losing my hat. Nobody taking my hat from me. Robert Conrad, knock it off. I dare you. Let's see. Elizabeth G. Pinball, please help. Why wouldn't a mature lemon tree be producing? Lemons are finicky. And I'm going to go back to the ones that we grew when we were in Vegas. They aren't a biennial or anything like that, but you may have a monster crop of lemons one year and none the next year. I can't tell you why, but that happened to us. And I've seen it happen. Go watch Scott Head on YouTube. He's down in Texas, and he was talking about his lemon tree too. Same thing, that he had a big crop and then nothing. And I'm like, I know that happened to us. So it just may be the conditions. There's nothing you can do about it. It's not uncommon, I'll tell you that. Carla Palmer, Mr. P, do I spray my fruit trees? No, except, and I'm going to do a video on this when we get a little bit closer to fruiting, or a little bit more fruit on there, is I will spray them with kaolin clay. And if you guys know what kaolin clay is, it's actually one of the ingredients in makeup, believe it or not. But kaolin clay, you spray it on your tree, it'll make your tree look white. But it is a clay. And the deal with the clay is the insects don't like it because it's sticky to them. I mean, an insect's body is moist, and it sticks to them, it gums them up, it makes it hard to breathe, etc. And then it's sharp as well. I mean, not sharp like you're going to know, it's a fine powder to us, but you're a teeny tiny little insect and it's sharp to you. So Kaolin, if you want to go look it up. The brand is Surround. But that's the only thing that I spray my fruit trees with. And it is 9 o'clock. Okay. Jay Myers, last question. You hear about these fast-growing trees that are all hype or any good? The funny part is, where I got my fruit trees was from a company. A couple of my bare root trees were from a company called fastgrowingtrees.com. Trees are trees, okay? Remember this, the faster it grows, the weaker the tree is. There's a reason why, like, oak trees and ash trees are a real hard wood and pine is soft. Watch how fast a pine tree grows. Watch how fast an oak tree grows. Okay, that's it. So, fast growing, a tree that's fast growing is not necessarily a strong tree. All right, guys, Angry Prepper is probably on. It's 9:01. Y'all have a good Tuesday. We'll see you in the morning. Pinball out.